Today I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm talking about the energy of being indifferent to that which makes no difference. Simply remaining indifferent to things that crop up in our day-to-day that on the large scale of things are not really going to make too much difference in our reality, is what I'm referring to. So, examples of when this may apply and the value of it. So, on a day-to-day basis, we're exposed to so much in the external world, whether that be literally when we're out and about in our real life, or whether we're just online scrolling. We could be on emails and stuff, work and so forth. Wherever it may be, we're exposed to a huge amount of stimulus coming from many different sources, for the most part at least. Some people may not be, but most people probably are. So when we're exposed to all of this different stimulus, all this different information, different scenarios and so forth, I believe that it's very important for us to be really quite conscious of what we're actually placing our attention on and allowing ourselves to enter that further stage of energy exchange with. If we're hearing someone discussing something and we don't agree with it, for instance, do we need to then be getting involved in every single thing, every single conversation which we do not agree with? Because if we're going about life doing that, then the amount of energy that we're going to be spending into scenarios and situations that we potentially have no influence over, and sometimes simply are just none of our business. Why invest time into that? And again, it comes back to it. Remain indifferent to that which makes no difference. Does it really make a difference to you? And the same goes for if people are online and seeing different comments, hearing their different opinions. Is it really a good use of time to be engaging in back and forths and disagreements with things that perhaps make no real difference for us? Things that make no real difference. If something does make a difference and is of importance, of true importance to the grander life scheme, then of course entering these discussions and debates is something that can be of value. Absolutely. But what I'm talking about is simply wasting time so that we're devoting energy and time into things that are going to make no difference, and at the same time our life is then passing by. We could have been spending our time upon things that are really going to make a difference in our lives, are really going to make a difference in the lives of those around us, people that are important around us, community around us, loved ones around us, family around us. So that's what I'm getting at here. When we remain indifferent to that which makes no difference, we then preserve our energy so that we can be channeling it into that which does make difference. Because there's so many different things going on the external. We've got to be very careful in terms of what we're investing our time into and what we're allowing to go ahead and to get us emotionally invested up in. If something doesn't really matter, then why would we be getting emotionally invested in it? It's a good question to ask in different situations, different scenarios. Different things happen, and we feel that emotional response, almost that knee-jerk reaction. But sometimes when we take a step back and look at the situation and what it actually means on the grand scale of things, after we do that, often we can quickly go ahead, assess things, and often make that call to let minor things go and concentrate on the more major situations, things that are going to be really impactful upon our life journey, impactful in alignment with our purpose, So that's what this is about. It's not about letting everything go. It's actually quite the opposite. It's focusing and being powerful, laser focused upon that which does matter by cutting all the background noise out and distractions. You see it there? So that's what we're saying. People get caught up in all manner of things, becoming concerned with the material gain of others. Remain indifferent to that which makes no difference. Little things are when we're driving in traffic, if someone else slightly pulls in front at the lights, do we really want to get too emotionally involved in that and turn it into something that it need not be? Or are we going to keep it moving, stay focused on that which actually matters? So many different examples, and like I say, with arguments of different opinions, are we really going to be going back and forth arguing with people over things which they are not going to change their mind on? Like, they're for sure not going to change their mind on. Are we going to keep going back and forth on this? Spending energy, investing emotion in it, perhaps. It's like a car spinning its wheels, using the fuel, but not going anywhere. Because at the end of it, we just walk away with less fuel, and you haven't gone anywhere. No one's changed their position. Even sometimes when we are right in a discussion and we're trying to explain this and agree upon this, that we're right upon this particular thing, we're not always going to be able to meet that point where we both see eye to eye, and perhaps one person says to another person, do you know what, you were right on that. There does become a point where it might be most prudent to simply walk away from that discussion, move on and save the energy. It's a very hard lesson to learn, that we don't always have to be right as well. But that's another discussion for another day. A lot of this comes back to this part around emotion as well. Emotion. So, ideally, we want our emotions, where we can, to serve us. We don't want to be serving our emotion all the time. We don't want to be always slave to emotion. We feel this emotion, so because of that, we're now going to do this. Oh, now we're feeling this emotion, so we're going to do that. As much as possible, we want to be self-generating emotion from within to be to our greatest possible benefit. So we don't want everything in the external world to be dictating how we feel, that emotion, and pulling us in, dragging us around. Because when we're living like that, then we start to lose control of self to a certain extent. Not entirely, but to a certain extent. Because we're not leading the way with the emotion. We're allowing external things to... What I mean by that is that we can end up allowing external things to come into our field throughout the week, throughout the day, throughout our lives, all the time, and just pull us off track, pull us off centre. As much as possible, we want to remain as centred as we can within self. So that as we're navigating our journey, we're able to control and articulate ourselves with in the best possible fashion. You know, if we're out of control and we're always being emotionally controlled by the external, then it becomes a bit more of a roll of the dice each day, rather than something that we're steering. Do we want to steer the ship, or do we want to be a passenger? I don't always want to be a passenger of life. Yes, there are many things that we cannot control, but you know, one of the things that we can control is what we're doing. We can control how we best manage our emotions. We can control how we shift our perceptions, how we observe our thoughts. So, in my mind, at least, it stands to reason that we'd give ourselves the best possible chance of this, and just take a little time to take that step back, observe ourselves, and be figuring out the best way forward on the journey. Yeah, man. The mind, as well. As they say, the mind is a horrible master, but an excellent servant to us. So, do we want to tap into our own mind and have that there functioning for us as a useful tool, or do we want to have it as something there that's, you know, sometimes to our detriment, where we're just following. Get ahead of each day. Don't have the day drag you through. You know, lead the day. Get on top of that wave of life and ride it in. Don't simply be following behind the slipstreams of life, sort of just floating around, you know? It's just a bit of an analogy, I guess, as I'm looking at the water now. Do you want to be leading the way on that wave, or do you want to be just floating around in the background? Make every day count. Why not? I believe that we came here in this life to be our best possible versions. And how that looks, that's our own version. So we don't need to be comparing too much to everyone else. Yeah, of course we're going to compare, because we see everything else, but when we're working to be our best possible selves, that's fine. But at the same time, realizing that we're not here to be changing everyone else. Yeah, of course we're all here to be helping one another. We're where we can, each one teach one, sharing valuable education or insights, wisdom, etc. But we're not here to be changing everyone else. There's a lot of people out there who will spend all their energy upon trying to change others, forcing beliefs on others. Sure, we can educate, But as the phrase says, we can walk the horse to the water, but we can't force it to drink. So by all means, we can walk horses to water, but we're not here to be forcing horses to drink, so to speak. So yeah, man, that's the message for the day. Remain indifferent to that which makes no difference. And with that message being said, it's time to step out from under the shade now. Got a crab down there. Jeez. Crab walking the coastal walk there. But yeah, with that message being said, is that recording? Not even sure. I think it is. Yeah, with that message being said, it is time to go and train. Legs session today in the gym, so cannot wait. Body weight is up again. Strength is up. All-time lifetime PBs being hit last week. So this bulking phase continues if you follow the bodybuilding stuff that I do. So it's a very exciting day, legs day, Saturday special.